Hi, I'm Dr. Papya Bhattacharjee, and in this problem we are given the 3 points. Right here is 0, 1, 3, 7 and 4, -1. We have to show that these 3 points will form the vertices of a right triangle. So how do we do that? How can we show that they will form a right triangle? Well, we have the Pythagorean theorem to help us. And let me remind you that it says if you have a right triangle, then if you know the length of the 3 sides of the triangle, so you have a right triangle and you have, say, A, B, and C at the lengths of the 3 sides, then it should be the case that A square plus B square is equal to C square. And the converse of this theorem is also true. So if you have 3 lengths and it follows this rule, then that will be, those 3 sides will be the 3 sides of a right angle triangle. So we can use that fact in this problem. So let's figure out, there are 3 points, we can find 3 lengths, the distances between, take a pair of points and find the distance between them, and then we can figure out if they follow this rule. And if they do, then it will be a right triangle. So we don't know which one will be A, B, and C. Why don't we just call them, say, distance 1, distance 2, and distance 3. So D1 is our first distance we are calculating, which will be the distance between the first 2 points, 0, 1, and 3, 7. Let me remind you, what is the distance formula? The distance formula is, so if you want to calculate distance between, say, the point x1, y1 and x2, y2, that is, take the square root of the difference between the 2 x coordinates square and add the difference between the 2 y coordinates square. That is the distance formula. So let's go back to our problem. We have to calculate the distance between these 2 points. So let's take the square root. The 2x coordinates are 3 and 0. Take the difference and square them. Then add, take the 2 y coordinates, take the difference, 7 minus 1, and square that. Let's calculate this distance. So this is 3 square, so that is 9. And then 7 minus 1 is 6, whose square is 36. So this is 36 plus 9, that is 45, the square root. So that's our first distance. Let's compute distance 2, and that is the distance between the next 2 points, so 3, 7, and 4 minus 1. Again, we use the distance formula right here. Take the difference of the 2 x coordinates, 4 minus 3, square that. Then add the 2 y coordinates, minus 1, minus 7, square that. Okay. So let's simplify. 4 minus 3 is 1. So this is just 1. And here we have 7, minus 1, minus 8. Minus 8 square is plus 64. So this is square root of 65. That's our distance 2. Now one more distance. The third one will be the distance between this last point and the first one. So 4 minus 1 and 0, 1. One more time, we're going to use the distance formula. Let's see, the 2x coordinates, 0 and 4. Take the difference, square that. Then add the 2 y coordinates. So here, first one is 1. Then you have to do minus of minus 1. And then square that. All right. So this is -4 square, which is 16. And then this is 1 plus 1. So this is 2. And 2 square is 4. So we get square root of 20. All right. So we have all 3 distances. Now we have to figure out whether these 3 distances will help us prove that it will give us a right angle triangle by showing that the sum of the squares of the 2 of them is equal to the square of the third one. We have our 3 distances. D1, the first distance is square root of 45. D2 is square root of 65. And D3 is square root of 20. So we have 3 distances between these 3 points. Now we have to figure out whether they will form a right triangle. So we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem, where we have to see if we can square 2 of them, 2 of these distances, and add, can we get the square of the third one? So the best way of doing it is look for the smallest 2 numbers out of these 3. And they are, this D3 and D1. And let's square and add them. So what is D1 square plus D3 square? Well, this is square root 45 square and square root 20 square. So this is 45, this is 20, and total is 65, which is square root 65 square. Therefore, this is D2 square. So we have the sum of the squares of 2 sides, the D1 and D3, is equal to the square of the third side, D2. And hence, using Pythagorean theorem, we can say that these 3 points will form a right triangle. Thank you.